What up, what up, what up? We're here for another episode. Pete's Corner with Dre. So we're missing Dre today, but he did send us picks as usual, so you will get the usual picks. And just so we don't cut off, we do not own the rights to this music. So we do not own the copyrights or anything to it, so we're just playing it because we like it. But we will move on to the picks and jump right into it, so this will be a quick episode. Let's talk about the game that's going to be starting probably in the next 40 minutes, 45 minutes. The Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. The Atlanta Falcons are the underdog again, as they've been for most of the season, as this game will be played pretty much as one of those close divisional games, in my opinion. The Carolina Panthers are at home. They're a 1.5 point favorite. Right now, just to give you Dre's pick, he picks Carolina. I can understand why he would. They've been playing much better than Atlanta, and they've proven a lot more than Atlanta this year. But this is one of those division games where it's very hard to tell what's going to happen. Both teams know each other very well, and I'm going to go with Atlanta to win it. So we're going against each other right out the door. So if you get to that game first, we got it right out the door fast. I got Atlanta. Dre has Carolina. Carolina right now is a 1.5 favorite. Moving to the next game. On Sunday, Green Bay Packers -6 versus the Minnesota Vikings. Once again, me and Dre are on opposite sides, as I will go with the Minnesota Vikings while he goes with the Green Bay Packers. Once again, his pick is the logical pick. However, once again, there's a divisional game. In the past, not earlier this year, first game of the year, obviously, they were able to beat them pretty soundly, but normally Minnesota gives Aaron Rodgers a good test. They usually can put up points against them. And the problem earlier this year was that Minnesota didn't put up enough points, obviously. But I think Minnesota is starting to get a little bit better now. Dalvin Cook is still questionable, but I think Madison is a very solid back. And Green Bay is a little bit hit up a little bit. They're a little bit nicked up with Aaron Jones, questionable to play. He didn't practice today. I do not think he's going to play. And also, Toyin, their tight end, is also hurt. So it may be all Devontae Adams again for Green Bay, and I just don't know if that's enough to cover the 6-point spread. Now, the spread was 7, and it went to 6, so that'll tell you people are jumping on Minnesota right now. Dre went the opposite way. He went with Green Bay. First game that we agree on, Tennessee Titans, coming off their first loss of the year, thanks to their kicker again. They didn't get a chance to go into overtime, as they made a strong comeback in the second half. Pittsburgh completely owned them in the first half, dominated the game. Tennessee dominated the second half of the game, and they were a field goal away from going into overtime to see who could finish them off. But with that said, the kick was missed by Gostkowski, and the Pittsburgh Steelers won a 3-point game. This week, now they get Cincinnati, who is coming off listen, right now, Joe Burrow is starting to get into a rhythm. He's playing very well right now, but I just don't think his team is on the level of Tennessee's right now. So we both got Tennessee winning by more than 5.5. Moving on to the biggest spread that I have seen in a long time. The Kansas City Chiefs are a 19.5 point spread versus the New York Jets. Now, I completely get everybody saying that they're going to beat them by 30 points because the Jets could barely score 10 and KC is probably going to score 40. But that is just saying that is just unbelievable. You are talking about a team that even if KC puts up 30 points, the Jets can score 12. They don't have to score 2 touchdowns, and they cover that spread. To me, and I think the Jets will score a touchdown. Obviously, there's a chance because Miami shut them out. There's a chance they could be shut out. But if the New York Jets can put up just 2 touchdowns, then KC definitely has to score over 30 to cover the spread. That's just too much of a risk for me. I feel that it's just too much. Obviously, Sam Darnold should be back this week. They're starting to get a little bit healthier. Denzel Mims, the rookie, played last week, so he's back. They're starting to play Perine a little bit more at running back, so they're starting to let the young guys play. I just think the young guys are fighting for something. It's not the older guys that are just going through the motions. The younger guys are fighting for something, and I think they will play good enough to cover that 19-point spread. So I got the New York Jets to cover the 19.5. Dre goes the opposite. He goes once again the logical way and goes with the KC Chiefs. They score a lot of points. The Jets don't. I understand that. However, moving on to the next game, we got the Los Angeles Rams coming off their win against Chicago last week. Pretty dominant win also. They go against the Miami Dolphins, who are having their week off, and this is the debut of Mr. Tua, the top 6 pick in the draft, the top 5, I think it's number 5th pick in the draft. This is the start of the Tua era. And I know I know that Dolphins fans are so excited about this. and the debut will be at home in Miami. I just have one of those feelings that he's going to play well, but it won't be enough. The Rams I think, will win this game. Dre agrees with me. We both have the Rams -3.5, but I think he's going to play well. He never really used to throw a lot of interceptions in college, so I can see him going out there throwing for 250, 260 yards. One, maybe a late touchdown to get 2 touchdowns. And it's a questionable whether he throws a pick or not. He may fumble one, so he'll probably have 1 turnover, I would say. Whether it's a fumble or interception, he'll have 1 turnover. He has to adjust to the speed of the NFL game. But I do think he's going to play solidly well, and I think Dolphins fans will be happy with them. But we both have the Rams spoiling his debut, winning by 3.5. Moving on to Baltimore Ravens -3.5 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers are the only undefeated team left in the NFL at 6-0. And Dre obviously is going with his boys from Pittsburgh. I will be going the opposite way. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens -3.5. This is one of those games where Pittsburgh is probably a little disrespected that they're undefeated but still underdog. But Baltimore, regular season, the past 2 years, they've been a top 2 team in all of football in the regular season, them and the KC Chiefs. So I do think that they will continue to be a very dominant regular season team. We'll see what happens when they get to the playoffs. I stand by what I said, that the AFC Championship game, I'm now predicting a rematch, as I think it will be the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Tennessee Titans again. And I said that before they played. I said that probably about a month ago. But I think that they will meet again. I think Baltimore and KC will lose in the second round of the playoffs. But I do think, as I said, Baltimore is a great regular season team. They can run the ball down your throat. Pittsburgh, till last week, never had to face as good of a running game as Derrick Henry. I understand the first week they went against Saquon, but they don't have the offensive line as Titans. And Derrick Henry was able to run in the 70s for yards, and he was just starting to get rolling, especially in that second half. But I have to think that Baltimore, even without, I'll tell you this, they're going to be without Mark Ingram. I think J.K. Dobbins will have a big game on Sunday. He's a guy that at Ohio State, he was known for having 150 yards, 170 yards, 180 yards, 200 yards in the biggest games that Ohio State had to play. And he really steps it up when it matters in those big games. And I think he's going to step it up in this game and run over a defense that is great against the run. So I think J.K. Dobbins will be the reason why Baltimore will win this game. And I'm going to say they win again by a touchdown. Moving on to the next game, Cleveland Browns -2.5 versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Dre is going with his favorite team, it seems like. His second favorite team behind Pittsburgh is the Raiders because he picks them every week. So he's going with the Raiders. I'm going with Cleveland. As weird as this sounds, I think they will do better without Odell Beckham Jr. Without Odell Beckham Jr., it seems like their offense is in a better rhythm. When he's there, it seems like, I don't know if Baker feels like he has to force the ball to him, but it just doesn't click. The offense doesn't roll. The offense seems much better when he's not in there. So with Landry there, with Higgins there, they can run their 2 tight end sets because they have 3 great tight ends. And obviously you have Kareem Hunt in the backfield. I think their offense is going to run much smoother. I think you'll see a lot of two wide receiver, 2 tight end sets from them also. So I think they're going to get much more creative, and I think the Browns will win that game. But I can understand you going with the Raiders because the Raiders are a solid team. Cleveland is very up and down, but I think this will be one of their up weeks. Buffalo Bills -4 versus the New England Patriots. The Patriots are reeling right now. I think they said this the first time they lost 3 games in like a couple years. They're just completely out of it. Buffalo is playing well, but they had a couple stumbles in the past few weeks. But they were able to come from behind to beat the Jets. That'll tell you how much they've been struggling after coming off their 2 straight losses. So, first Dre is going to pick Buffalo. Once again, logical decision. Once again, I'm being very illogical this week. Divisional game. New England, this is their last stand to actually do something. I think New England will end the year around 500, so they're going to have to start winning some games. And I think I'm not sure if they're going to win this one, but I think it's going to be a field goal type game, whether it's 3 points from Buffalo or 3 points from New England. I think one of them will win by 3 points, so I'm going to take the points and go with New England. Moving on to the next game, the Indianapolis Colts -3 versus the Denver Broncos. Wow. Oh no, I was right the first time. The Indianapolis Colts are -3 versus the Detroit Lions. I'll get to Denver on the next game. That's why I saw both teams. But Colts are -3. Dre has the Colts. I'm going to go the opposite way. We disagree on pretty much every game this week, so we're really going to get a good test this week. I got to go with the Chargers. They've been hot. Go with the Detroit Lions. The Lions are playing well on offense, and they're starting to get healthy. DeAndre Swift is getting more and more carries, and that's a good thing. Galladay had a great week last week. So if you got the combination of Swift playing more, Galladay, and Matt Stafford, and obviously they have Hockenson there. They have their wide receivers that are, whether it's Lewis Jones and Marvin Jones and everything, they have offensive weapons. They just need to get the defense a little bit better this week. But I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those big weeks out of Detroit. It's just a big feeling right there. Dre is going with the Indianapolis Colts. Once again, if you're going by the picks this week, if you want to go logical, what you should pick, probably go with all Dre's picks. If you want to go with what I know off of experience off these teams, their past history with each other, and just a feeling of how they're coming off this week and how they're going into this week, you go with my picks, because we disagree on almost every pick this week. One pick that we do agree on, LA Chargers versus the Denver Broncos. We're both with the Chargers. Broncos are playing very bad right now. Herbert is on fire. He's playing well every single week. He's actually played at a top 5 rate in terms of quarterbacking. So he's on fire right now. All their offensive weapons are good, are there except for Eckler. But they're still doing good enough that they can fill in for Eckler at the two running back set with Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly. They're just playing much better right now. Denver, they're not glued. They're not gelling right now. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the loss of Cortland Sutton from the start of the year, because they haven't really looked normal since then. Then they had Drew Luck go down for an injury. Then you had the issue with Melvin Gordon. It's been just too many issues with them. People in and out of the lineup, and they need a couple weeks of playing together. And they need a bye week, which unfortunately for them they already had, because they had the case of COVID with New England, so they had their bye week. But they need another bye week to gel. Right now they're just not playing good. So we're both on the Chargers this week. Back to us disagreeing. Seattle -3 versus San Fran. Dre is going with Seattle, the logical pick. Seattle's been one of the best teams in the league. They got their first loss last week in a great game against the Arizona Cardinals. And I think, by the way, I'll go back at the end and say what our top picks and middle picks and upset picks are. But I just want to run through the picks real quick. I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go with San Fran. San Fran is one of those teams that when Jimmy G plays, they rarely lose. And that's very surprising. But if you go through it, you can go through all the stats you want. Oh, he doesn't throw enough yards, or he'll throw one of those big interceptions in the fourth quarter or whatever. When he plays, they win. They really do. Look at their record when he's not playing, and look at their record when he plays. And he rarely loses. And with him on that team, they have obviously, listen, Deebo Samuel, he's been in and out of the lineup. He's not well right now. Their running back situation has been on and off. They still have McKinnon there. Wilson looks like he may play, but they don't lose when he plays. They rarely lose. And I think that even if he does lose this game, it'll be one of those close games where it'll be a field goal. Russell Wilson is good at getting a field goal late, or getting them in field goal range late to win games. So it could be a field goal type game. But I think San Fran could cover it. So I'm going to go with San Fran to cover the 3-point. Dre's the opposite with Seattle. Next game, New Orleans -4.5 versus Chicago. We're both on New Orleans, maybe because we still don't believe in Chicago. I tried to believe them last week and they blew it for me. I think it's going to go into a little bit of a tailspin. You know what? I'm not even going to count Michael Thomas as playing, because until he gets on the field, we keep saying he's going to play and he doesn't play. So, he gets hurt on Thursdays. He gets suspended on Fridays or Saturdays. Every single week is something with Michael Thomas why he's not on the field. So I'm going to consider he doesn't play, but I still think New Orleans, because now they're getting used to playing without him, will find a way to cover that 4.5. And Dre's on the same way with that. Philadelphia and Dallas. I have the Dallas Cowboys. I don't even know why I'm picking them, because you know, I do know why I'm picking them, because this is another feeling game. It's another divisional game where nobody expects Dallas to cover this spread. They've been playing bad. Philadelphia seems to be getting healthier, but It's going to be Sunday night. It's a divisional game. It's a game where, by the way, that it doesn't look like Andy Dalton is going to pass concussion protocol, so he may not be starting. So they're going against an unnamed quarterback in Danucci, however it's pronounced. And obviously, Philadelphia, Ertz isn't playing. Goddard doesn't look like he's going to be playing. It is DeJean Jackson is done. He's on IR. Rager will be playing, and it does look like Alshon Jeffrey will play his first game of the year, but I'm assuming it will be on a limited basis. So they still lack for weapons. I don't see them that explosive. Also, and Miles Sanders, another big blow. He most likely will not be starting. He still hasn't practiced yet. So it looks like it will be another game of Scott playing on a running back. So I just don't like them to be explosive enough to score and outscore them by 8, 10 points, anything like that. So with the 8.5 points, I'm going to take Dallas. Dre's the opposite way. He's going to go with Philadelphia. I can understand it because Dallas has been bad all year. Last week may have been the worst point when they're going against Washington, but you know what? I never thought Andy Dalton was a good quarterback. I thought he was an average quarterback. And you can't stick an average quarterback with those 3 wide receivers and trying to outscore teams. They're just not going to do it. We've already talked about Washington has a good front 7. They got to him. They took Dalton out of the game, and that was the end of that. So, once again, we're opposite on that. He goes with Philadelphia. I go with Dallas. Monday night game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New York Giants. Dre is obviously with Tampa Bay because Giants suck. They aren't good. They played a game last week where they should have won and they lost that game on Thursday night. And it's logical. This is the theme of the picks for Dre versus me. His picks are logical, mine aren't. And because of that, I'm going with the New York Giants. But I have reasons. 1, the Giants are coming off 10 days rest, so they've been able to try to get some things together. 2, they always play well against Tom Brady. I don't know why, but they find a way to play well against Tom Brady. So this is what I said earlier. I said that if Dre's picks are picks that should happen and off of stats and everything that you feel, that's what it should be with Dre's picks. My picks are most of history, feeling off of maybe what they did last week or in the past, and it's just divisional games. They're tight games. I just have a feeling the Giants know Tom Brady, and they're not going to lose by 2 touchdowns. They may lose by 7. They may lose by 10. I don't think they'll lose by 14. So those are our picks for the week. However, just to give you what our top picks, middle picks, and upset picks are, Dre's top pick of the week is the Rams, 3.5 versus Miami. His second pick of the week is the Los Angeles Chargers, 3.5 versus Denver. And his upset pick of the week is the Las Vegas Raiders, upsetting the Cleveland Browns. My picks of the week, number 1 pick of the week is New Orleans to cover the 4.5 versus Chicago. Atlanta tonight is my second pick. So like I said, you got about 30 minutes, maybe even less than that. You probably got about 10 minutes. So it's the first thing I said on the show. So get right to it. And then my upset pick of the week is the Minnesota Vikings to upset the Green Bay Packers outright. So as we go out, I'm going to play a song that I should have played last week because every time they play it, the Steelers lose, and everybody that reps this song loses. So I should have played this for last week, but Pittsburgh got their win. We'll see what happens if we see a rematch in the AFC Championship game or at least in the AFC playoffs. I'm your host, Peter Pac-Man Clark. We'll catch you next week. Hopefully, Dre will be back for Pete's Corner with Dre. Peace out, guys.
Black stripe, yellow paint. I hear they scared of it, but them pros ain't. Soon as I hit the club, look at them face. Hit the pedal once, make the floor shake. Sway inside, my engine roaring. It's the big boy, you know what I paid for it. And I got the pedal to the metal. Got you out here checking game, I'm balling out on every level. Hear them haters talk, but there's nothing you can tell them. Just made $1 million, got another $1 million on my schedule. No love for them, boy, I'm breaking hearts. No keys, push to start. Yeah, you know what it is. Everything I do it big. Yeah, screaming that's not. When I pulled off the lot, that's not. Step up in my town, when you see me, you know everything. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. I put it down from the whip to my diamonds, all in black and yellow, black and yellow.